Well, there it is. Hi guys, welcome to once again another Warcraft III Reforged video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at the WoWhead video that they created, Warcraft III Reforged Spell Animations Preview. So I'm going to be reviewing this, giving my critiques, my initial reactions to what I'm about to see. Make sure to check out the video for yourself. I'll put a link to it in the video description below. And if you guys enjoy it, make sure to thumbs up the video there. And if you enjoy this video as well, the critique that comes with it, make sure to thumbs up this video too and share, subscribe, and obviously give your comments on what you're seeing too. I would love very much to read your thoughts. So I thought you guys might actually enjoy this. You've been enjoying the content that we've been doing so far. So let's crack on and do some more. So we've got the Goblin Sapper squad over here. They're looking very mischievous. I like the look at all of the sort of doodads, the pointy shoes on this character, the little cap. He looks very cheeky, like got a massive grin there. This sneaky guy in the barrel, the the rocket in the back, like just the crazy design. So we're going to see them obviously do an explosion in a moment. First, this peasant who's just checking out his axe. Oh, that was really kind of gruesome and nasty. Oh, it just got a lot more gruesome. Yikes. That skeleton. They like sprung up as they kind of blew up. So initial impacts are good. To the point. Almost, I wonder if it needs to be just even a little bit quicker. Whether it felt like that was almost a little bit delayed before, as the explosion was kind of going off. But you guys, let me know what you think, because you may disagree, agree. I'd love to see your comments either way. I like the corpse, albeit being very gruesome. It gets the point across that that peasant is definitely dead. And the weapon's been left alive. Well, left alive, inanimate. So we got Kael'thas here. And he's about to flame strike a bunch of peasants who have the misfortune of all standing close to one another. So let's take a look at this.
Outstanding.
Ooh. Right, let's just pause it right at that point, shall we? Had such a beautiful... Like the swirls that are actually coming around him, thinking about it. It had like this beautiful sort of swirling effect, and then the fire sort of... It sounds like I'm doing such a bad job of just describing it, because it's initially reactionary, but I just love how everything spontaneously throws itself up. Basically, it's good. Yeah, you can see the fierce orange flames, this consecrated ground underneath to make sure that it's clear that that ground is still not safe to stand on, because it has a burning effect, much like the Demolisher. Okay, now we have Dagren the Orcslayer, if you remember from one of my videos. I showed him off. As you can see, he's got the Ashbringer. I'm not sure what he's... Oh, that's what he's about to do. He resurrects the level 6 Paladin ability. Okay. That looks very similar to the normal one, except we don't really see that massive sword dude that sort of like emanates and grows and glows outside of the Paladin as it resurrects. Let's just come back a moment and see that one again. Yeah, you see like symbols rising, but you don't actually see this giant dude with a sword looking righteous. So I preferred the first one, to be honest. But there you go. Now we got Uther. I'm not sure what he's about to do, but he's looking a little bit intimidating. Oh, okay, he does his... Oh my god, look at the... Oh, yeah, look at the facial expression right there. He's like really bringing them back. Oh, look at these guys. One of them's like that. Oh, yeah, I'm ready to get back in the fight. This guy's like, yeah, let's do this. Okay. That's cool. So it's like a yellow and then a green. So if you didn't spot the yellow, the green might also let you know that you've rezzed your units. So you might want to be aware that you can use them again, because sometimes you resurrect people's units in a team game and they just forget. All right. We got Uther by himself. What is he going to do? What was that? Did you see the burst cursor go over there? This is Divine Shield, obviously, but I heard like the Phoenix egg dropping. So maybe the guy who created this video had like a Phoenix egg outside. Listen carefully. So I don't know if that's part of the Divine Shield sound now, or whether that was just a dude who had a Phoenix egg outside. Hard to say. I'll go back one more time. definitely sounds like it's a separate source. Either way, the Divine Shield looks good. I never really had... Oh, it is a Phoenix. You can still hear it again. Unless it's not a Phoenix because he's doing Divine Shield again. It can't be. Why would it do like this Phoenix sound like almost a second before the Divine Shield activates? That's too weird. Just coincidental, I think. I hope that's not the case. Otherwise, it feels delayed and laggy and the input isn't quite correct. I mean, it's a bubble, and that's what Paladins are known for. So I think this is a good take on it. We're used to this more sort of really solidified yellow sort of object sort of spinning around this waist of the Paladin. Like this kind of round orb. Whereas this is more like a expansive bubble. So I think this is still clear enough when you're on the battlefield. You've got the symbols underneath. The light is all glowing up. This is why I use the webcam, because one, I'm doing a reaction video to someone else's video, so I feel a little bit bad about that. Hopefully WoWhead is okay with it, and hopefully you guys are okay with it, but it's also, I am trying my best to critique this. I'm not just like staring at it whilst playing the whole video through, because that's really scummy. I'm just trying to give as much emotion as possible to describe what it is I'm feeling. Okay, so we've got Antonidas. That voice. Oh, that's Blizzard. Alright, so it's a little bit sporadic, isn't it? Which makes it less clear to follow, in my opinion. It reminds me more of the HOTS one, where the ice shards just sort of come down like that. Whereas in Warcraft 3, the standard, it's much more consistent. It's like... Even in Warcraft 2, it's... Well, Warcraft 2 is crazy because of the gameplay speed that you can play at. But anyway, we'll go back to Warcraft 3. It feels more consistent as to where you're standing and being attacked. Whilst you do have this kind of aura, like the shattered ice that is underneath, emanating on the ground, I feel like it's a little bit too sporadic. And in melee games, particularly competitive melee games, I'm pretty sure they would much prefer the previous version. This looks flashier, but I don't think it's better for gameplay. Let's just have a little look at it. Yeah, it's way too quick. And then there's like these gaps. It looks nice from an animation standpoint, like his staff is glowing. It's very obvious he's doing it like he does in the first one. Whatever. Here we are from a further point of view. It's not like it's impossible to tell where it's landing. It's just not quite... Wow, that fireball. Okay, let's just take another look at that fireball for a second. Not quite sure the attack felt like it really flowed from the Archmage correctly there. Yeah, it felt like a bit janky, but then again, that's obviously down to the engine and what they're working with, I think, more than... Because sometimes they go over the top with these new models, but then things that are quite basic, like their attacks, don't feel like they match up necessarily. But then again, the original Warcraft 3 has that with some characters and well, their attacks, particularly ranged ones. So look, he points with a staff, but the actual projectile comes from over here. He actually comes from the horse's ass. A fireball from the horse's ass. Oh my goodness. Okay. Is he going to do Avatar? Or is he going to do Thunderclap? Oh. Well, people wanted him to be bigger when he did Avatar form. He's a lot bigger. He's stretched. He's Stretch Armstrong. He's super tall. I think he needs to be a bit more wide. But he definitely gets bigger. And that's the main thing. Perhaps he can't be too much wider because otherwise his selection circle is going to get a bit out of whack. But let's just see that again. You see his selection circle does grow. So I'll have my cursor here where the circle will basically be. You can see it does grow from there to there. So that's okay. It could be even a little bit wider, to be honest. He looks badass, though. Really nice with the... Whoa! The thunderclap. Let's see that one again. Oh my god! That deserves... You know what? Ah! There we go. Feel better? Oh yeah. Oh! You can really feel him like... smashing that ground. Smash that like button, speaking of which. Wow, bloody hell. He's even bigger. He had to move the character closer. I love this stone granite look as well. Really nice. Yeah, that's fantastic, that thunderclap. He's like physically landing with the actual weapons and his hands down to the ground. Really good. Okay. This is Arthas with Frostmourne in his Northrend kit. So you can see, like, there's, like, you know, little blood indentations. Sort of sprayed, dried up blood by the looks of it. The armor itself has been worn down by the bitter winds of frost. Well, the frost winds in the Northrend. And obviously his hair's a bit lighter in that sense. Closer to the grey. So Frostmourne has definitely had a bit of an impact on the old Arthas.
A sound plan.
Oh, but he healed him. So he's still a good guy, right?
Certainly.
Okay. I mean, that looks fine.
For my people.
Not much to say that. Oh, yee. So this is the normal hero that's less ostentatious. Is that the word? Than Kael'thas. So that was a different looking flame strike, wasn't it? Didn't look quite as flashy as Kael'thas's one, and it's got more of a symbolization on the ground, I think. Maybe it's the same, I don't know. You got the consecration there. Could be the same. I don't know if it's necessarily supposed to be different, though, if it's on a... between the campaign hero and the actual melee hero. So hang on a second, I mean, it looks the same, pretty much, but do you think they actually put difference in the detail? So 3 minutes there. Let's come back to this.
Outstanding.
I think it is the same. But it's one of those things where you start second guessing yourself all the time. But I'm pretty sure it's the same. Yeah, it's got the swirls, the green swirls, even as it's still the fire is rising. I mean, if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know.
Whatever.
Oh, mass teleport. Yes, very nice. That looks just like it basically should do. And it slowly glows out. Ooh. Look at the water elemental. The shininess on it. It's a shiny water elemental. That was good. That makes it really obvious that the water elemental is being created. Like when the water elemental is created in Warcraft 3, it kind of like grows. It morphs up, basically. And this one sort of does a spin as it morphs up. So that's kind of cool. And he looks cool as well. Like this big beefy braces on his arms. Like he's got the pose. He's got like these kind of like spiked shapes to him. That makes him look more aggressive for tanking and for doing damage. Okay. Starfall. So it doesn't have the sound quite yet. It's got a kind of a strange looping animation for it. I'm not sure I quite... She doesn't look like her whole heart is in it. She's just like... You know, I'm not quite buying it as much. This video is going to be a bit longer than I was anticipating, by the way, so prepare and stay tuned. I mean, it looks fine. The detail on the little starfalls is quite nice as well. So, not really too many complaints there, just looks a bit weird. But the aura emanation's good.
For honor.
Earthquake? Yeah. Okay, that's Earthquake. Look at that. And the rocks sort of pummeling around it makes it very obvious. The conclave, the circular angle, it's very obvious where that Earthquake is. No complaints there. That looks good to me.
Yes.
It is pretty cool, actually. The animation as well of Thrall. He's sort of throwing his dominance and the wolf is like pouncing down. Here comes Drek'Thar. Is it Drek'Thar? Oh, summoning wolves. Ah, look. They're scratching and playing with the tails. That's pretty cool. We'll watch that one more time. Grubby must have liked this one. I like... They got like almost a werewolf look to them, but they still look like wolves. They're very lupine in the sense of how their waist is so slim, but then they get more muscular at the top, almost like a kind of V-shaped look. Very big bushy tails. They look fierce. They look like they could do some damage and some nasty crits. So I like them. Particularly the animations there. Blade Master. Oh, that's the old school mirror image. And what the hell did he get 2,000 experience for? For 8,000 experience if you can tally it up. I like the mirror images though. They even start off with slightly different poses, which is interesting. Is that, I mean, would you really pick up on that as a player? Because that might be a giveaway that those aren't the right one, but then again, no. Because you think they'd all have exactly the same pose, but this guy's being different for some reason. He's being really different. He's kicking out. Let's try that one again. So obviously, I feel like the old animation probably needs to change as well. But it doesn't bother me because I'm freaking happy with the old graphics anyway. But if it's all to match up, I assume that should look better, because otherwise it looks very blocky compared to the more modern characters that we currently have, which are far more shapely. Ah, it's Grom. He's doing like a ballerina dance. He is spinning that axe though. You got to concentrate a little bit to watch it. Oh, yeah. Look, if you pause it in mid, you can kind of see more of the animation. Look at the fierceness in his face. So he's spinning on like one leg, the other one's for balance. This sharp axe is just slicing through. Doesn't quite convey the area of effect though, because it actually has a pretty large area of effect. Bladestorm does. So I don't know whether they want to add like some tornado-like look to it. Maybe it's not finished, but maybe it needs like a tornado-style look that just accentuates the actual AoE radius of the spell. It looks really weird though, just like a ballerina kind of dance. Yes, there he is. So you'd think you would only be getting hit here, but it will go over to like this far. Hey! It's Rexxar. He's looking a bit bigger and bulkier now. Like the picture I saw of him initially, I think he still looks a bit too... I mean, people did want him to be taller in a sense, but I still want him to be like ridiculously as wide as he is, almost tall, but still ridiculously tall. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to thumbs up, just in case you haven't done already. It really does help out, guys. I mean, we've been hitting like 500, 600 likes on these videos. So, oh my god, look at the Misha. Oh, look at it. It looks so funny. Oh my god, there's that Misha. It looks like a cross between a pig and a bear. I love it because I like pigs. Pig? It looks so sort of sad. That's a pig. Look at the snout on that. Look a little... I love these. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's just sort of... Oh, what am I doing here? Where's the hawk then? They look great. I've got no complaints with those.
On the prowl.
A Stampede. Oh, wow. That is the old school Stampede, isn't it? I mean, they look a bit more 3D and slightly HD textured, but those definitely look like the old school Kodos. Like, oh my goodness. It looks like he's actually just about to fart. But I'm going to spoil this for you now, aren't I? Every time you see that now, you're going to think of that. Oh, but that does look beefy. Let's do that again. Ugh! One more time. Ugh! Okay, I'll do it without me doing that, so you can just hear the actual sound. Yes. Yes. The impact is good. I feel like the actual spell animation goes off just a split second too quick before his actual foot hits the ground. I don't know. It felt like there was a little bit of a delay there. No, I guess that is pretty much on point, but his foot kind of like moves from there to there whilst the thing is hip. It's a weird thing. It's just what my eyes are seeing. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad. I really love... The Tauren Chieftain's my favourite character, like hero. His voice lines and all of that, as well as his spells. His whole kit is amazing, and when he slams, so satisfactory. This is going to be Shockwave by the looks of it.
Yes.
Oh, yes. One more on that.
Yes.
So it's a lot lighter, this Shockwave. The original Shockwave has a real sort of triangular look to it. Almost like, what are those called? They're like they're not cow pullers. You know what trains have on the front? Those kind of like sharp, diagonally spiked sort of guards on the front of trains. The name is something to do with cow or something. I can't, for some reason it's not coming into my head, but I think you will know what I mean. And it had more this kind of diagonal, pointy, but high sort of orangey yellow glow pushing forward, which looks really nasty. Shockwave. So this feels a little bit tame in comparison to that.
Yes, Chieftain.
It feels a little bit tame in comparison, but at least the impact point is where he cast it from.
An excellent
And it's
plan.
pretty clear. It's like this kind of forward sort of like, you know, semicircle pushing outwards.
You, man.
Ooh, nice. That's really animated. There it is, big bad voodoo. He's really getting into it, isn't he? I mean, if that doesn't get the attention of the enemy, I don't know what does. That's hit me now, because he's the only one that can be hit when he's doing big bad voodoo. He's really taunting like every person around him. Like, come on. Hit me, please. Oh, okay. Breath of Fire. Where's his hat? That's what you guys have been saying.
I'll give it a shot.
That fire is actually kind of cool. I feel like it needs a bit more, what's the word? Fulfillment to it, like fullness. It feels a little bit sparse. I know it's like a breath of fire, but the original one is very, very clear, very orange, very pushing outwards. This one does the job, but it feels like
I'll give it a shot.
it's a little bit... I'll pause it in between and show you what I mean.
I'll give it.
Like this, it splits out into like 3 different sections, which I guess is kind of a cool effect. But I feel like this whole thing should look like this, so there shouldn't even be like any gaps. You still have this like conal effect, but there shouldn't be any gaps. But then again, that's just because I'm used to the first original one. But it is dispersing at the same time, so it kind of shows that it's dispersing, so I kind of get that.
Have one on the house.
It's good. It's good. It's just I'm used to the first. Drunken Hair? No. Oh. What? Hang on a second. They look different. You remember the models that we looked at? Oh, they definitely did some changes. This guy looks more similar to the original model, except he's got red pauldrons. So big, bright red colours. Very nice. Good stance. Ready to cast. This guy's, you know, he's like slightly posed forward with one arm, ready to strike. I love the sort of double feathers going on here. This is, and this sort of pointed mantle neck piece. And of course, this guy. That's a cool weapon, man. That's like the Tauren totem pole. Except not quite so extravagant, but at the same time looks just as practical and deadly. Like a big sort of stony boulder that's kind of like shaped just to pummel the ground. And the stance of him is fantastic. And the hat. They look bloody good. Credit where credit is due. Those look bloody good. Come on. I mean, we saw the original Panda models. Again, just if you're not sure, you haven't seen it, I'm covering all this stuff. So all the models, everything, basically, animations, etc. videos. So check the channel, Warcraft III Reforged on Witty Warcraft. And you will see a video that I covered which showed the models that we were suspecting that we were going to get with the Panda Storm, Earth and Fire. This is much better. They look They look spot on. I wouldn't change anything there, to be honest with you. Really good. I mean, I just now that I said that, maybe make the swords on fire as well. If I was to critique anything, put the swords on fire themselves. But this guy's emanating fire, so kind of get the point. That's the taunt. I mean, the only thing that looks daft is how they basically land. They just kind of do this thing where they almost look like they're going to land face first. Excuse me. One more time. Look at that. I mean, maybe that could be fixed. It's not an amazing immediate thing. The original ones have a really cool animation. They actually spin until they land. So I feel like maybe that needs to be fixed. Also, different looks, by the way. This guy's now got a very Chinaman look. I mean, I don't know how offensive that might come across, but he's got kind of like this beard. Like very old school, stereotypical. This guy looks a bit more grounded. Doesn't he have beads? I don't think the other guy had beads. So this guy's got beads and he doesn't have a hat. He's got like brown gloves. And this guy's got like wrist plates. And like a sort of ginger hairy back. So I love it. I love that we get these different models. Oh my goodness, what on earth? He looks like a kind of a dragon. Look at the face. It's like a Deathwing kind of face. I actually quite like it, though. And he's got his own flavour. This is more like the actual Pit Lord that we're going to get if we get it from a Tavern Hero, right? Because that looks a lot more like it. I mean, the size of those tusks.
I bring dark.
He's got like this kind of red... sort of... Oh, the spikes in there. The web wings, they look great. Not too sure about that, though. That just looks like some kind of blocky blocks. Considering the amount of detail they put into some of these spells, those just look like octagonal blocks, basically, just landing on the ground. The fiery effects is kind of nice, though. I mean, it looks better from up high. And it's crystal clear what's going on. But those boulders might... I don't know. I mean, you guys let me know. I always sometimes wonder if I'm being over the top.
You got it.
What? Hang on a second. He looks so weird and different. The shoulder plates. It's supposed to be like an ogre, right? It looks more like some sort of kind of troll or something. Or something cross between a troll and an ogre. Like more... from a different video game. But I love the Goblin Alchemist himself, because technically this is the Goblin Alchemist, but everyone always thinks the Goblin Alchemist is actually the ogre, because that's kind of the face portrait that you actually see. And you see a tiny bit of this guy in the background. He's actually sitting on a canister full of chemicals, which makes more sense, because he originally kind of sits on just like a kind of a chair. So this makes more sense that he's sitting on a chemical tank.
You got it.
That healing spray looks really nice. It's very similar to the first one, just a lot more flashy and beautiful. I've got to say, I do prefer the original ogre. Oh no, he looks better here. But he looks more like a kind of... he looks like the guy from Game of Thrones. You know, the mountain. After, you know, certain events happen and he's a bit more undead. He doesn't look... I mean, that's the effect. The weapon's kind of small, considering the size of his fists. He doesn't look anywhere near as bulky. He should get bigger when he does that. Okay, so I like this. I don't like this. I'm just going to say. I can live with this. It's fine. I'm not going to say... I'm not going to boycott the game or whatever just because of it. But I think the original ogre looks a lot better. Wow. Is that Lady Vash? Or at least, it's not Lady Vash, but it's an alternative version of her that you would probably get from the tavern, or perhaps even a campaign. I'm pretty distracted, to be honest, right now. I think you can probably tell why. Really nice shoulder plates. The 4 arms as well. Don't forget that the lady Nagas have 4 arms. The male Naga are actually sort of more bestial and just have the 2 arms. There's just a sort of bulkier creatures. Very solid tail here as well. Looks like it could do some damage if it whipped at you. And the hairstyle is fantastic. It's like slightly webbed. That's Mana Shield, obviously. That stands out enough, I would say. It's not quite as obvious as the original Mana Shield, I think.
By your command.
Ah, that tornado is really similar to the original. It almost looks like it's got the same amount of polygons. I don't think that's actually different from the original tornado. I think that might even be the original one, to be honest with you. I don't have a problem with it, though. It looks like a tornado, so it gets the job done. And that's all that matters to me. But it doesn't look as like over the top as I would imagine it to look, with all the other graphics looking amazing. Her animation's pretty neat. That's kind of what she does, though. She does this kind of weird, aggressive, punching forward thing. But it does look a bit odd, obviously, when you just stare at her doing it. Goblin Tinker, by the way. Really nice cluster rockets. Those all looked like their own element and moving in their own way, which the originals do as well. Look at this guy. I want to see more of this guy. He's one of my favorite heroes. He's got the clamps. He looks far more like... I mean, he looks like the original, but at the same time, he looks a lot more like the Heroes of the Storm one as well, a bit. Except his kit doesn't go quite as high as Gazlo's, I don't feel. And the smoking from the pipes is very nice.
Let's roll out.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. I don't have too many complaints with that. Oh yeah, now that looks good. He's like smoking, he's just having a good time. Tinkering away. Okay. What happened there? I don't know. I feel like that's a cop-out, that one. It kind of just spawns. I mean, it's hard to show it off because I can't do a comparison right now. But the original one feels like it sort of spins more as it grows into its form. Goblin Tinker Robo Goblin is my favorite ultimate because whenever I get it, I just keep spamming between Robo Goblin and Tinker form because it's just so fun to hear that noise of and then sort of like spinning back and forth. This is supposed to indicate that this thing is massive, which it is, and he's suddenly like a third of the size of himself. Like, what happened there? Look. That's weird. That's really weird. I mean, the thing itself looks kind of neat in a sort of very basic way. It looks quite basic. It shows off what it is, though. Like this, it looks fine. It's just...
I can handle that.
They got this kind of strange thing with character models and heights and sizes, depending on whether they're mounted or not. And it throws me off. That's the Firelord. I'm having a trouble getting used to the Firelord model. I think with time, I'll grow to like it. The original one, actually, when you look at him closely, especially his face, it's kind of just blobs. It doesn't really look that good. But because I've had years of being used to it, then this looks kind of really weird to me. But I think I would get used to this one with a few months and actually probably prefer the way he looks. It's just quite shocking to start off with. But I like the horns coming out. This looks more like the original one, like a kind of Ragnaros skull on top of the actual sort of fiery element.
It is done.
Well, that needs work. What the hell is that? I think that's a work in progress, isn't it? What on earth was that? Let's just go back there a second. What is going on?
It is done.
So the initial part, the actual plating on the ground looks good.
It is done.
Like, you can see this. That terrain style. Very nice. And then it just goes janky. Like, each one of these is basically a volcano in its own right, yeah? It's supposed to be like, that's supposed to be like the one volcano that rises from the ground. And then these little fireballs are supposed to spawn out of this one. But what is currently happening here is, instead of one of these, you're getting one of these giant volcanoes instead spawning, which then in turn spawns a little red fiery thing. So something's obviously glitched up there. So it's hard to criticize that one. But thank you guys very much for making it this far in the video. If you did, make sure once again to hit that thumbs up button. See if we can get over 500 likes. I really appreciate that. And thank you very much to WoWhead. Again, check out the video. Make sure to give them a like. So thanks for that. And obviously all the good coverage they're doing over at wowhead.com. So thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, then make sure to thumbs up, subscribe. Just let me know in the comment section below. Have a great day. Take care.